guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Ali and today I'm sharing 10 easy tips for going vegan. This is a video I've wanted to do for a really long time, and I figured since we're sort of approaching the end of the year and also approaching World Vegan Day, which is November 1st, I thought this was the perfect time to make it. So I've now been vegan for 6 years and I'm never gonna look back. So I thought I would share some of my tips, some of the things that I've learned along the way, things that I wish I knew before I went vegan, just in case anyone watching this is wanting to make that change themselves. And yeah. Okay, so tip number 1 is just to take away the pressure. Don't feel the need to label yourself, confine yourself to any limitations or definitions or restrictions or categories of veganism. When I started transitioning into this, the best thing for me was just to leave that room for learning and making mistakes and not feeling like I had to do everything right straight away. These lighting changes are... I very clearly remember that when I was kind of beginning this journey, I had this fear of, what if I can't do it right? What if I make a mistake? What if I can't stick to this forever? And that was really scary for me, especially because at the time I already had a little bit of an online presence, so I didn't want to define myself as this one thing and then go back on my word later or not be able to sort of maintain it. And I remember the thing that my friend Siobhan said. She was just like, well, you don't need to define yourself as anything right now, and you don't need to commit to this one thing or try and limit yourself and put all this pressure on. You're just learning and you're just letting your conscience guide you as you educate yourself. And I think that's kind of a really good point. If you just let your conscience guide you in anything in life, but you know, particularly this, you can't really go wrong. Leave room to make mistakes. You've been living a certain way, eating a certain way for your whole life, so you can't really expect yourself to just instantly change like that. So basically, take a few deep breaths, release that pressure, and know that you don't have to be perfect. Okay, tip number 2 is to educate yourself. This is what will fire up that passion and change something that could be a strict diet or something that you try and have to force yourself to do into a lifestyle that just becomes easy and second nature because it's already what you believe in and what you know to be right. Once you know better, you can do better. So if you kind of arm yourself with the science, the facts, the knowledge, it becomes a lot easier. We're super lucky in this day and age to have great access to resources like YouTube videos and statistics online and published reports, things like that. So some of the things that I really recommend and some of the things that helped me even back in 2013 are Gary Yourofsky's best speech ever, 101 Reasons to Go Vegan, Cowspiracy, Earthlings, What the Health, Forks Over Knives, Nutrition Facts, and then even speeches from people like Philip Wallen, who is a huge inspiration of mine, as well as countless scientific studies and journals, and a really, really interesting piece from the United Nations, all of which I will link below, so be sure to check them out. Tip number 3 is to create a supportive environment. Starting something new, no matter what it is, can be very daunting, especially something like this, which kind of weighs on ethics and moral code and, you know, right and wrong. That can be quite polarizing if you feel like you're alone or if you feel isolated. So finding a community of people that view the world in a similar way or that agree with you and have shared beliefs is really, really helpful. I'm super lucky that most of my friends and my family are now vegan as well, so I'm kind of living in this very happy bubble where I don't think about, you know, eating animals and things like that anymore. But that definitely wasn't always the case, and if you're in that same boat where you may not know anyone vegan, social media is a great outlet. Joining groups like Vegans of Melbourne, New York, Auckland, anywhere in the world, fill in the blank, is fantastic. You can ask questions in there, you can share exciting vegan news or new products that people have found, as well as just connecting people that support the way of life that you live. It can be kind of scary when you are trying something new, and just having other people to talk to really helps. So yeah, if you're watching this and you are vegan, maybe comment down below and say where you're from, because then you guys could sort of comment back and forth and start a bit of a community of your own. Tip number 4 is to find inspiration. So similar to point number 3 about finding like-minded people, this is about finding people that you can learn from. So even if you're just observing and taking in their information, it's about people that could inspire you and help you grow and give you a bit of an idea of what this lifestyle can be like. There are so many people out there creating amazing content that you can learn from, but I will share with you some of my favorites. So I particularly love Amanda Dux, Ellen Fisher, Caitlin Shoemaker, aka From My Bowl, Unjaded Jade, Sweet Potato Soul, Cheap Lazy Vegan, Hot for Food, Julian and Jenna. Julian's channel in particular has been sort of vegan cooking focused lately. There are also a bunch of celebrities who are vegan and, you know, have mentioned it in certain areas that you can look to for inspiration, like Ariana Grande, Miley Cyrus, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Woody Harrelson, Billie Eilish, Alicia Silverstone. I know there are so many, some that have cookbooks, things like that. There are just countless people that you can look to for that kind of inspiration, and I will leave my favorites linked down below as well. Number 5 is find find replacements and veganize the foods that you already love. This is pretty much the biggest thing that will make your transition smooth and easy and effortless. I have so much respect for people that went vegan and even vegetarian like 10, 20, 30 plus years ago, because they just don't have the overwhelming amount of options that we do today. Even when I went vegan 6 years ago, I would get so excited about traveling to America because I could finally go and try all these exciting products that they had that we didn't, like coconut yogurt or Ben & Jerry's ice cream and all of these cool vegan products that even Australia, which is a pretty advanced country in terms of these options, I would say, we didn't have that back then, and now we kind of do. I can walk into my local supermarket now and buy pretty much all of the same items that I would have bought 7 years ago, except now they're plant-based versions because we just keep adapting and adding all these new products. This video is actually sponsored by Coles and their new Nature's Kitchen range, which is a new range of fully plant-based meals, and they are so good. It is actually so exciting for me because they did very kindly send me a package of these meals to try out, but I had already bought and tried the meals, and I have since then bought them and eaten them so many times. They have things like burgers, one of which you might have seen on my Instagram, that was so good. They have tempeh, tofu, sausages, chicken, lasagna. Oh my god, the lasagna is so good. Even like my dad, who hates vegan meats, loved this. He called me the other day and said that he was so impressed with the chicken fillets. That is a seal of approval to me. Anyway, not only are they delicious, they're just super convenient and easy. So for someone like me that is kind of impatient when it comes to cooking, like I just want to make the simplest, easiest, quickest option, these are awesome to have on standby, especially if I have friends coming over. I've really enjoyed cooking these with friends lately. I'm just genuinely so impressed with Coles and how many new plant-based options keep coming out. It's just a very exciting time to be alive. So thank you, Coles, for A, sponsoring this video, but B, for just being innovative and forward-thinking and sustainably minded and coming out with all of these fantastic vegan meals. I bow down to you and I thank you. Okay, tip number 6 is to understand calorie density. So I don't mean counting calories, I don't recommend that at all, but more just understanding the nutritional value and energy density of the foods that you're eating. Essentially, plant-based foods are lower in calories, which means in order to reach that same level of calories for the day, you have to eat a higher volume of foods, if that makes sense. And then you can aid this by adding more fat to your diet, because fats hold more calories than proteins and carbohydrates. So by adding things like avocado, nut butter, coconut, you know, any nuts and seeds, lentils, things like that to your diet, you can bulk it out a little bit more and get those extra calories in. Tip number 7 is to explore exciting restaurants and cafes. Like I mentioned earlier, it used to be kind of hard to find even one decent plant-based option on the menu, but now there are full vegan restaurants and cafes specifically made just for plant-based foods, which is so cool. So I would recommend downloading the Happy Cow app or even just using their website to find vegan and vegetarian restaurants, cafes in your area. I kind of describe it as like being Tinder but for vegan food, just because it works on like a location range and you can select your options, what you're after. And that's also really good if you're traveling to a new city, if you're visiting somewhere new, and you can see like what options they have. Otherwise, I love using Instagram to find cafes. I'll just follow new places in different areas, look under hashtags and see what looks good from their Instagram, because that's how I decide if a meal is going to be yum or not. Tip number 8 is find what works for you. There are just as many ways to be vegan as there are to be non-vegan. So basically, you know, there's the paleo diet, the keto diet, there's raw till 4, high carb, low fat, low carb, high fat, 80-10-10, raw till 4, gluten-free, anything. You can eat any which way you want within a vegan diet as well. So basically, I just think it's important to eat in a way that aids your body, your budget, and your lifestyle. If you're looking to do this in a cheap way, remember that pretty much all of the cheapest foods you can find at a supermarket are vegan. So things like rice, beans, pasta, oats, bread, lentils, you know, they're all plant-based. They're all great staples. Potatoes, you know, they should all be kind of at the forefront of your diet if you're trying to not spend too much money. You can be a gluten-free vegan. You can be a low-carb vegan. I wouldn't recommend it, but I guess, you know, you could do it. People do eat that way. Also, I just want to add that you may not see this advertised as much, but you can be someone who smokes and is vegan. You can be overweight and be vegan. There is no right or wrong way to do it. And if it's something that you want to implement into your lifestyle, don't let anything else that you currently do or are or have hold you back just because it doesn't fit this kind of Instagram or the depiction that we have of veganism. Veganism, to me at least, is just about eating for the planet and for the animals. It doesn't have to be smoothie bowls all the time. You should eat for your climate. You know, if you live in Hawaii or Florida or California, sure, you could eat smoothie bowls all the time. But if you live somewhere that experiences experiences real seasons like I do in Melbourne, I eat a lot of soups and chili and sweet potato and burgers and pasta and things like that that keep me warm. So eat in a way that works for your lifestyle, not anyone else's. Also, if you're feeling overwhelmed by, this daunting nature of eating all these new foods, remember that you've been eating vegan foods your whole life. So hummus and pita bread, carrots and dip, chips and guac, bean and rice burritos, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, oatmeal with banana and peanut butter or apples and cinnamon. All of these things are plant-based foods. So it's not like you're starting from scratch and suddenly trying all these scary products. These foods have been part of your life for a while. It's just about figuring out the way to eat them in the right way for you, take out the foods that you no longer want to consume and replace that with vegan alternatives. Not every meal has to be this exciting, elaborate, Pinterest-worthy thing. Just start with what you know and go from there. Okay, tip number 9. This is a very important one. Do not eat unseasoned tofu. You deserve better than that, and tofu deserves better than that. Tofu is basically a flavor sponge. It is meant to taste like whatever you cook it with, whatever you season it with. For example, my favorites are sweet chili sauce and satay sauce. That is when it will taste delicious. Just don't try it on its own, just like soaked in water and expect it to taste good, because it won't, and that's not what it's meant for. Just trust me on this one. Finally, tip number 10 is to go at your own pace. So I know I've kind of touched on this a little bit before, but I just want to emphasize it because I would much rather someone take their time, do their research, and slowly make small changes to their lifestyle that is maintainable for them and sustainable long term, than for someone to, go cold turkey, for lack of a better word, and then have to quit 3 weeks later because they couldn't maintain it and it wasn't sustainable, whether they weren't eating enough or hadn't found the right products yet or weren't equipped with that prior education and knowledge and information that would make them stick to it. Meatless Mondays exist for a reason. There is no wrong way to do this, and I think people need to realize that any change is a good change. Any step towards eating more sustainably and, more of a plant-based diet is better than none. So if you're currently vegetarian or experimenting with a few vegan days in a week, then that's great. And I just don't want anyone to make you feel like you need to do it overnight if that's not what you're ready for. So that's tip number 10. And I really hope that was helpful. This is just basically the information that I wish I knew 6 years ago. And if you guys have any tips for what you think people should know, whether you're starting on this journey, whether you're, whether you've been vegan for a while or vegetarian for a while, please let me know down below. I would love to chat about it in the comments. We can open up a discussion. Follow me on Instagram if you're not already. I definitely talk about the things I'm passionate about, and veganism is one of those things, so hopefully that can help you out. If you guys are on Instagram, or if you have a vegan related channel or Instagram or anything like that, drop it below. Feel free to self-promo, go for it. Give this video a big thumbs up if you found it helpful or if you enjoyed it. That way more people can find it and, get some of this information out there. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you live in Australia, go and try out the Coles Nature's Kitchen meals. The lasagna in particular is a favorite of mine. Anyway, I'm getting hungry, so I will see you next time. All right, bye guys.